Go Loud presents the Talking Bollox podcast.
What you waiting for? Put your back in it. Just a little more. Throw your weight in it now. Tell your body okay. Walk it hard and long. When you finish that
The hip knocker.
song, go down, go down, go down. Come up, come up.
Boom, support for Talking Bollox comes from Manscaped, the best in the business for below the waist grooming.
The products are precision engineered tools for your family jewels.
Right, here we have the performance package Manscaped that send us out. Quality.
Yeah, we have ball toner and we have trimmers as well, and there's a fucking light and all on it.
We also have a pair of jocks. Manscaped jocks, I'm all over them.
Yeah, and it all comes in a little travel case as well. So that's a handy one. No matter where you go on the road, you can always know that you're in safe hands.
Top of the range. Come here, they're after giving us a 20% off. A code for Talking Bollox listeners exclusively. So if you use GoLoud20 at checkout,
On manscaped.com, you get free worldwide shipping as well.
yeah.
And they also sent us out the weed whacker, which is why I know it's hers, because it's not just downstairs that needs trimming, it's upstairs as well. Manscaped have you looking your best and feeling your sharpest.
Boom, episode 69, the Talking Bollox podcast, brought to you by Go Loud, the home of Irish podcast. It's me, Teddy Flower,
It's me, COB.
and this week we're joined by
Eric Donovan, the Lily White Lightning.
Oh, good luck. He got the lily white part in straight away off the bat.
He's right, plug her off the bat.
Yeah, no, he's right.
Eric, how are you, pal?
I'm good, lads. Thanks for having me. Delighted to be here with you, famous pair.
Oh, we're the famous fellas, are we? Do you know what, Eric? We tell you the truth. Because it was episode 69, we're going to get a porn star.
What?
He said, right, we get the next
I wouldn't
best
be
thing.
surprised at you guys, honestly.
Eric, we do a thing called jingles, yeah? Did you ever listen to an episode?
I did, yeah.
Right. He's like, yeah, I did. Fuck's sake. Right, we're going to jump into the jingles then from the other week, yeah?
Right.
Did you ever see the TV license man in your life?
It's funny. I was listening to that episode, actually. Very funny. No, I didn't. Honestly, I didn't.
And how old are you, Eric?
I'm 36.
And you never seen
Still
this
haven't
fella?
seen him.
Yeah.
Hell yes.
And then didn't somebody tweet, I think the day after listening to the show, they saw him.
Eric,
They
you
saw
want
him.
to see the amount of messages we've got? And they're funny as well. Like, it's not as simple as knock on the door, TV license.
Yeah.
So we've got, like, bombarded with the messages. A girl messaged me and said that she was in her friend's house and she could see out the sitting room window there was someone at the door, but it was an old woman and she was very fragile and frail. And she goes, "Can I help you?" And she goes, "Sorry, I think I have a letter for you. I can't see the name on the address. Can you help me?" And no one come out and she goes, "Oh, blah 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 lives here." And she goes, "Oh, does she? Yeah, TV license inspector. There you go."
Jesus.
And I was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god,
They're getting smart.
So they're in
these days.
disguise
they're
now.
out there playing
Yeah,
3D
yeah.
chess." You know what I mean?
And
This-
you're after creating this problem.
Another one is another fella message and says, growing up, his auntie, she'd never answer the door to anybody unless you rang the doorbell twice. So that was like the little code.
See, they're on the ball. Like,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I think because the amount of messages we get
Yeah.
over the last few days, the phone's still hopping.
Yeah.
TV license man was here today, his cunts.
As if we sent them.
Yeah, we're trying to get rid of the cunt.
Yeah.
It's not even real.
Yeah, half of the population was saying, Terrence, will you shut up, will you?
But it's mad. Like, just don't have a telly. I
Yeah.
don't have a telly.
Do you know what? Many households don't have tellies.
Yeah, I
No,
don't.
and
No,
that's
that's what they're on.
I don't even want to. I don't even want to suggest something. Everyone has their own kind of, laptops now and they're watching
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah, so that's me.
yeah.
Like, anything I watch is on my phone.
Yeah.
But did you ever even see like a job application for a TV license man? Do you even know someone or ever heard of someone that's a TV
Yeah,
license
remember
man?
your man messaged us. Said he was a TV
He
license
was
man.
one,
Said he was
yeah.
getting $7.50 a week.
That's good poke.
That's good
man.
poke.
But it's not good enough money to be billing people for watching the telly.
Yeah.
You couldn't be happy, like.
No, yeah, you couldn't
Like
be
you
happy.
say about the clampers, like, it's a terrible.
Yeah.
I
They're the
remember
top there.
actually
Yo.
one clamper who had his number, and I gave him a call one day because there was somebody who got a ticket in. Hey, it was my wife. It was my wife who got a ticket.
Absolutely grand.
Right? And I was just thinking, and she rang me and she goes, "I'm after getting clam." Or she actually didn't get clam, she got a ticket. So I rang him and I said, because I knew who it was, and like it was only a couple of weeks previous that I realized he worked in the area as
Clamper.
Clamper or whatever, but he came to my fitness classes that I used to run in the Thai. And so I had his number and I gave him a call and I said, "Look, man, anything you can do, Literally, she was 5 minutes late or something.
Yeah.
Like, probably not as 5, but anyway, not much." And he goes, Eric, I'm sorry, I can't do anything. It's gone through the books, so there's nothing I can do now. But I'm not messing with you. I'm getting out of this job. I hate it. He goes, do you know what I mean? So, like, even the people that are in it, you can tell it's not a nice job to be
not
in.
good for the head.
No, it's not good.
Yeah.
Like, I could hear his, his sadness almost through the phone that he couldn't do anything for me. And, like, you're giving someone a bill every time.
Yeah.
Like, it's terrible.
I don't get clamping. It's like, you can't put your car in this spot, so now we're putting this thing on your car that you can't move your car from that spot. So it's like,
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You can't park your car here between 9 and 5, but we're putting a clamp on it so you can never move your car now. And you're like,
yeah.
what? Well, which is it?
Yeah, that is gas. Yeah, when you think about it,
it's very
that way.
contradictory.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah.
if you grow up to be a TV license inspector, a clamper, or a Lewis inspector,
Or a copper.
right? Yeah,
Moving on.
same category.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Say no more. TV license man. Have you ever seen the TV license man was the question, yeah? 59% of people said yes, 41% of people said no.
He's like Bigfoot. He's a myth.
He's a myth.
A
boys.
myth.
He's not a real
59,
person.
yeah, I'm surprised with that stat. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I
That's a
mean?
lot of people that said they seen
Yeah.
him. But you know what? A lot of people are lawyers. I'm at to being asking people in real life, have you ever seen him? And they're saying, yeah. And I'm saying, no. Have you seen him now? Or have you heard he was at the door? And they're like, oh, no, like, my ma said he was at the door. And you're like, no, but have you seen him? Nobody's
It's
seen
like
him.
aliens, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like in theory, they should be there, but until you see them, you can't say they were there.
Exactly.
Yeah. TV license, aliens, and Tupac are all in Cuba. Here we go.
I'm going to give it that one.
Yeah.
Right. See when you stay in bed in the morning, yeah? Would you call it a lie in or a lie on?
Yeah, probably a lion.
That's a lie on, Eric.
I'd say a
Lie
lie
on.
on as well.
I'm
man,
having a
myself.
lie on.
I don't know, them days are long gone by. Anyway, I wish I could still, get the old lie in or lie on, whatever it is. No, but probably a lie in or something, yeah. But anyway, there was days during my teenage years and probably up into my late teens, early 20s where I couldn't get out of bed at all, like, didn't know, I didn't care what people called it, lie in or lie on. I wasn't getting out of it. Go away from me.
Yeah. Don't
Get
be
out,
thinking me.
yeah.
42% said lie in. That's close. 58% said lie on.
Yeah. It's a
Well,
lie
put the
on.
camera
Close
on.
on.
I had it the other fucking week and I look back on it and you couldn't even see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give me
Sound.
another one. Give me one more, boys. You let to break me, mind. Right,
Two
fucking
terrible
keep
things
it.
to
Sorry
say.
about
Yeah.
that. Right.
Big news.
Big news, boys. Come on, take us in.
Yeah, so Air Merch has finally dropped. So go to, what's the website, Terence?
GoLoudNow.com/shop.
Right, the link will be in the description of this video. And for anyone that's just listening, the link will be in our social media channels. Check it out. We've hoodies, jumpers, t-shirts, mugs. Me and Terence are rocking them here now.
These are the jumpers. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're fresh, by the way.
Fresh. And yeah, so that's where you get it. Because everyone's been hounding us for ages. Are they get merch? Excuse me, get merch and all. We're like, yeah, we're
Fairness, we're
trying.
promising it since last year. We were telling people
I
next
know,
week
but
and
it's
all.
it was very hard to get done, but the deal's across the line. So this is where you can get you some merch, get you some Christmas presents, get someone a present for Easter. Yeah, look, there's an Easter egg and a jumper. There you go.
And there's going to be more coming as well. There'll be
Yeah.
more.
You have
stuff
the
coming.
Easter colour going on there, Calvin.
This is yellow, is it? I'm like a floating head with this background. You know what I mean?
So yeah, the merch dropped. 50.
Yeah,
Sorted.
right.
Suggestions. Bollocks. I took a
I had one. Someone messaged us and says, "What podcast do we listen to?"
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I like Blind Boys podcast. James English is still me go-to. Listen to James English since years now.
Yeah.
I listen to a few podcasts you do.
Mm.
And you know what? I got more into listening to podcasts in nearly, not in a competition way, but in a way of going, these are doing well here, what are these doing?
Yeah.
And not to sort of take it, but just be like,
Research, no? Market research, I'd call that.
and you know what it is? I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Do you ever
Check
listen
the
to-
competition.
Nearly.
You got to do it.
Nearly.
Yeah,
I stopped listening to Joe Rogan, and I like Joe Rogan. I just stopped when he went to Spotify. Do you know what? I'd be more of a. I don't mind. Actually, now that I think about it, I actually probably listen to more audio podcasts nowadays than visuals. But I'd sit there and watch Joe Rogan's podcast every night, 3 hours long. No problem to me. I used to sit there and watch them. But since he went to Spotify, I just started dipped away, man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
I
mean?
don't know. In the last while, I haven't really listened to. I've kind of not fell out of love, but just no podcast really caught me eye. But then one that came back up, and I was talking to you about.
Oh,
it.
you shan't.
It's called Dissect. Yeah, this podcast I used to listen to about 3 years ago, and it was a fella, and he used to just do it on his own, independent. But then Spotify signed him. It's called the Dissect podcast. He goes through albums, song by song, line by line, who made it, what inspired it, what the lyrics mean, and it's lethal. He done 2 Kendrick Lamar albums, done a Kanye West album, does load of albums, but it's just, you know, when you listen back to a song, then you be like, geez, I know why he's saying these words, and I know that why this means that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that in-depth, granular analysis. I like that, you know what I mean? So, Dissect podcast.
Another one that I'm at the being strung out and listening to it as well. Only a new one out. Check it out. Conversations on the Margin. Living on Wands one.
Very good podcast.
Top of the range. Just going into Wakefield prison, chatting to the prisoners. Now it's all anonymous and stuff like that. But my God, this is quality.
Yeah,
like
genuine stories.
Like genuinely, you're sitting there with a lump in the throat. Going, fuck me, man. Like quality. Like what a job she's done with that. It's unbelievable.
No, I can imagine. Yeah, because behind the, you know, there's real humans there. You know, behind the whatever jail sentences or whatever, there's real human stories
and it's not about Hitler, like it's not.
No, I know.
No,
of course, yeah.
Because you have some people sort of going, oh, but like they committed a crime, they're in there. You're like, yeah, but they're humans at the end of the day. Like they didn't just commit the crime for the crack. Like people go through life and something happens. Like you're a baby, you're born, you're vulnerable to the world. Yeah, something happens in that period of your life growing up to it, where you have to commit a crime. Then, whether it's a robbery, whether it's a assault, something is happening in your life in that meantime. Make you go and do
of course, I don't believe that anybody, like if you go into any prison across the country, like or even across the world, there's nobody that would, you know, put up their hands and say, you know, when I was a kid, I wanted to grow up and be a prisoner. You know what I mean? Nobody, you know, obviously something happened along their childhood, and that, you know, whatever, childhood trauma, childhood development, something went a bit askewed, and they ended up veering off, you know, and that's it. And I was listening to John Lonergan actually talking about this as well, even at one stage. The majority of prisoners in Mountjoy, or very high, like, you know, majority anyway, were coming from a very small place, a small environment within Dublin City.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, you know, like, come on, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to find out what's going on here. You know, monkey see, monkey do. If you're in that environment, you kind of, you become
100%.
Conditioned in a way, you know.
You know no better.
You know no better, yeah, but it's kind of like, you know, you become what you see, you know what I mean? And, like even from like my own point of view, like when I was a young kid growing up, I grew up in a council estate, you know, which was deemed a disadvantaged area, you know, as well. Best people in the world there, you know what I mean? The best people, nice salt of the earth people. But like, you know, when drugs and all that kind of stuff, antisocial behavior and all that came in, like, you know, it was like there was parts of like me, I was attracted to that because I didn't see anything else, you know. Didn't see, like, it's not like people were floating or waving degrees and, you know, diplomas and, you know, masters and all that, you know. Wasn't that you know, I didn't even know anybody that had a third, you know, degree or third level education or qualification up until my sister, you know. She was the first person I knew closely who went on to, you know, academic levels, really high levels. But like you get attracted to that, you know, and you see lads like, you know, hanging around the alleyways or the fields, whatever, and you're kind of like, you want to be there, you know, you strive to be, you strive.
It's like a lot of the prisoners are coming from disadvantaged areas and working class areas, and like one of the main reasons for that is obviously poverty. Like, like it's hard. When you're growing up in these areas, it's hard to look at somebody who's working a 40-hour week coming out with 400 or 500 quid, and then you're looking at the other lads on the tower selling a bit of stuff or doing a bit of this or doing a bit of that, and they're making double that in half the time, and you're like, why would I go and work? So then you see young people growing up sort of going, I'm gonna do what they're doing, and but before you know it, you realise now you're locked up, now you're after wasting a few years of your life, and now you look like you start wishing you had just went the honest route.
And the odds are stacked against it as well, because it's not just that. So even when you do want to go and do get into academia and do make that honest living, when you tell people where you're from, they're like, oh, well, you're never going to make it. And you're like, what do you mean I'm never going to make it? I'm trying here. Like, the least you can do is help me. Instead of stacking the deck against me here. You know, like that. So I was always like, when, like, I have a degree, and I was always told all throughout college, school, like, you're always told by everyone you meet in higher positions, like, you're never going to make it. And you're like, but you should be helping me.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, in a way, I always go back to my teacher, one of my teachers in school, I never forget, and I've said this story a load of times on the podcast. He made a show me in front of the whole class. We had a class where the whole year was there, was 40-something of us in the class, and he made a show me. He said Australia wouldn't take me in. You know, like that, this is when everyone moved to Australia. And I remember thinking, like, what a prick, like, you didn't have to say that. But that inspired me, for the wrong reasons, to spite him and go on and do well. So in a roundabout way, I have him to thank for going on and finishing college, but there's plenty of other people out there who don't
No,
go
of
down that
course,
road.
you
Do
managed.
you know what I mean?
You managed to use that to your own
Yeah.
advantage.
So what I'm saying is, there's people out there who are like, "Do you know what? I actually don't want to go down and go down that life of
Yeah.
crime. I do the bad thing. I want to earn the honest living." And then when you're out there, you're like, "Well, what's the point? What thanks am I getting for this?
Yeah.
When I'm already your fate is already sealed for you. Or you're from this area, you're no good. It's as simple as that." And you're like,
Yeah.
come on. And especially, I still hear cases of it in 2022. And there's people out there, if you dress like this, you talk like this, you have this address, oh, you're a basket case. And you're like, come on, like, are we still doing this?
Yeah.
You know?
I was like that, you know, growing up. Like, I had this, like, and still, sometimes I can have, like, still struggle with it, but like an inferiority complex, you know, based from my schooling days, you know, because I had a very poor education. My mum and dad, they were so young leaving school, but so young getting married and all as well, like, you know, and they didn't have an education, like a great education, you know. There was no emphasis or importance put onto my education, and then so my education, it done the opposite. Instead of feeling educated and developed, I felt inadequate and I regressed, you know. And I measured my kind of my success then, or I measured my capabilities based off my academic inadequacies. You know what I mean? And you're feeling stupid, basically, you know. Wasn't until later on in life that I kind of twigged it, like, you know, I said, come on, you know, and I went back in as a mature student at 27 years of age, you know what I mean? But the fear that I had around that all, like, so my primary and secondary school, like, really poor, my grades were poor, my attendance was poor and all that as well. But I remember even in secondary school at one stage, there was a big open hall with all these, like, a big hall in the center of the school and all these classrooms, like, into different, you know, classes. And my desk was put outside the classroom and up to the door. Just, I was probably being disruptive and messing or whatever anyway, but I remember sitting outside the classroom at the desk, and my back now, and I'm actually sitting in the hall. I'm looking into through the classroom door, and all I can see is the teacher, and all the class are down. I can't see the class, I can only see the teacher, but I'm on the outside. And I thought it was cool as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, oh, look at me, I'm outside. But I'm just thinking, like, that's not good for
Anybody.
you know. You're like segregated,
Yeah.
like, you know.
The
Come
exact
on, like,
same
I
thing
wasn't
was
that,
done.
you know what I mean? Whatever about, but like at that time they couldn't connect with you, you know, if you were a little bit wild or a little
I
bit
don't think they
disruptive.
wanted to even try and connect. I know.
Anyway, I think stuff like that can do the opposite
but
of
that's what-
feeling
the exact same
developed.
thing they done for me as well. The table outside
Yeah.
the door and
Yeah.
looking into the classroom.
Yeah.
But again, like you said there, I always felt like, oh, I'm a cool kid.
Yeah.
You get me? Like,
Yeah.
because like, I didn't just want to be in the classroom either. So I didn't really give a fuck about it. Like, some
Yeah.
people just can't connect with school. And
Yeah.
I was one of them. Like, I
Yeah.
just couldn't sit there
Yeah.
and learn. I couldn't grasp it. I couldn't be like, how are these just sitting here and taking this in? I was like, I just want to throw an apple at someone or
Yeah.
something. Know what I mean? So when I was outside the room, I was like, this is actually cool now. Do you get me as well? So you can understand to an extent when you're
Everyone
disruptive.
laughing. You think they're laughing with you, probably laughing at you, you know.
Exactly. That's exactly.
Look at that
it.
clown, like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But like, what I meant was the teacher putting you out there. Yeah, it stops you being disruptive. But like, surely they should pull you aside and be like, look, this is what we need to do with him to get him to actually sit down and make progress.
Yeah.
As opposed to being like, look at our sight, our mind. He's just another statistic. You know, like that.
Nowadays, though, I think there is a big shift, like, in how the education system is run. Like, even in terms of, like, students working together, like, you know,
Yeah.
my eldest son Jack is 16. Like, he loves school, he enjoys school, done the transition year and everything. When I was in school, man, I couldn't dream of doing transition year. you
Yeah,
know?
I did
No,
it.
I dropped out of school long
Yeah.
before. Anyways, but like, it was never part of my plans. You know, it was like, get out as quickly as possible. But my son Jack is in 5th now, and then Troy is in 4th in primary. But like, they're encouraged to work together and look and help each other and
Yeah.
support. You know, if I even, like, and I used to do this a good lot, I had to look into whoever's beside me. You know, what's going on there? Give us a dig out
Yeah.
there, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and you'd be told, Donovan, or
Yeah.
whatever. You know, all right. And,
Yeah.
But now they're encouraged to help each other and support. But now, when I was in school, it wasn't.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, you didn't know. You were on your own. and-
Yeah, that's mad because in certain subjects in school, I remember that, like, you sit down, you look forward, you don't look left, you don't look right.
Yeah.
But then I remember in maths, the teacher didn't care. If you turn around and be like, Anna, did you do that or did you do that? And if you were helping each other solve the problem, she didn't give a bollocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't care. As long as you're not turning around saying, hey, did you see the maths last night, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
If you turn around and said, did you do this and did you do that? And if you're helping each other, she didn't care. That's productive. And now thinking back, you're like, Jesus, she was onto something there.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing as well, they've changed the leaving cert. They're going to change it now. So at the end of 5th year, you have exams that go towards your grade for your leaving cert, which makes fucking sense. Like,
Yeah.
I done transition year, waste of a year. Wait, we regressed. You know what I mean? We would have done better if we went straight from 3rd year to 5th year. In 4th year, we dust, and when we come into 5th year, they were like, "You're already behind." I was like, "How can we be behind running to starting where you started?"
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like so
Is
hard.
that
then-
just kind of scaremongering, trying to put the
yeah,
fear
but like I
into you?
mean, then you're trying to catch up, and so many people dropped who done like higher level subjects, drop from higher to ordinary, and even ordinary foundation because we're technically already behind. So we would have done so much better if we skipped 4th year. But imagine if at the end of 4th year we could do a project that counted towards our leaving cert, like a 10% of your grade or whatever. But that's what they're doing in 5th year now, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Because at the end of 6th year, you had 2 years, in some cases 3, 4th, 5th, 6th, or some cases 5th and 6th. You have to cram all this criteria and all the curriculum into one exam. But now you have 2 years to do that. Do you know what I mean? You could sit paper 1 in 5th year and paper 2 in 6th year. Makes more sense. You're taking the pressure off. And it keeps you applied, keeps you focused. You know what I mean? If to study now all through 5th year, if to study now all through 6th year. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But I know I've seen a lot of people complain like, "Oh, this is too late." So it's not too late. I'd rather see it happen late than not happen at all. You know? So yeah, how the fuck did we get onto this?
Don't know.
But that's the nature
But the
of
way
this
this-
podcast, isn't
Yeah.
it?
This
just
always happens. Skills are just ran mad. Like we spoke about it loads of times. Like if you wear white stockings, you're sent
Yeah.
home. If you don't have your skill jacket, and so I never ever had a skill jacket before because we couldn't afford the skill jacket. We were lucky to be able to afford a uniform and new bleeding shoes. We'd most likely be wearing old black shoes to school. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like I'd come in with a normal jacket on me. Where's your skill jacket in front of the class? And they'd be like, "What does it matter? I have a jacket on me.
You're here."
I'm warm and I'm in the class." Like, and then I was the type to be like, I was always that type to be like, I'm not just gonna sit there and say, "Oh, sorry," like or whatever. I was like, "I have a jacket on me. Who gives a bollocks? I'm taking it off now and putting it on the radiator. Who gives a cunt? I'm in here to learn.
Yeah.
I'm not in here to like give a fuck about representing your school jacket." And then you don't want to say, "Oh, me man can't afford it," because you're embarrassed. Then do you get me?
Yeah.
Skill systems, but I think they are getting better. We have a lot of teachers that text.
Yeah,
us
and,
well,
and they say what they do in class
and it's
nowadays.
brilliant
And
it
I'd be
is,
like, "Where were you when I was in school?"
yeah.
It honestly, sure. Look, I go around the school. I go around this country speaking in schools. You know, I do a school speaking tour. You know, and I love it. I absolutely love. One of my favorite things to do, talking about life, my life experiences and all. And I always say to the students before I begin, I say, look, I wish I had somebody come and share with me what I'm going to share with you when I was at school. But I didn't have that luxury, you know. But I love the fact that now schools are, inviting us in.
Yeah.
Because the students need this.
Yeah.
You know, I think as teachers, they have a duty of, to provide a service for the kids. Not always the academic way, but,
They're a big influence on your life.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't think they realise how much of an influence.
They're a
They could be a
big
negative
influence.
influence as well. If you're telling somebody they're
Yeah.
stupid, they're gonna believe they're stupid.
Absolutely. So I like first thing I say at the schools when they ring me up or whatever, I first say, well done, fair play to you, because you're thinking about the kid. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You're giving them a different look, a different outlet. You know, and you can talk about mental health and addiction and drugs and all that kind of stuff, but lived experiences is the best, teacher. Someone that like has been there, worn the t-shirt. It's not someone talking cliche stuff outside the book. Hey, kids, don't do drugs. But when you hear real life stories about the pitfalls of it all and the heartbreak and the pain of it all, and what awaits you in that area if you go down that road, people think, okay, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they might have, like, I do plant seeds everywhere I go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No two ways about it.
We did a talk in a school.
But like, see them teachers in that school.
We couldn't believe it. Like how caring the teachers were. The teachers
Yeah.
didn't give a bollocks, and like the kids kind of, in a way, they were taking advantage of it. Like they get the teachers a bit of stick here
like a
and
bit
there.
of back and forth with
Yeah,
them.
and
But
we were like, "What are you doing? Like, you don't realise how privileged you are to have a teacher who is so happy that you're just in this building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like that.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember? I don't know. Did you ever used to get detention for being late?
Yeah, I never used to go though.
But like, you'd walk in, it'd be 9:03, and they'd be like, "You're getting 20 minutes detention." And you're like, I'm in the bleeding building. Like,
Yeah,
can you give me a break?
Yeah.
You know, it's not as if the class is sitting down and I'm not disrupting everybody. I was literally the last one in the door. You haven't even started the
It's
lesson.
just a power trip though. A lot of teachers back in when we would have been in school would have had that power trip. They just want to be able to say something. to
You're
you
on
in front of the
detention now.
class.
But it's education though, isn't it? As well as, like, even though we're talking about the education system, but it is education in terms of like learning over the year. Like in the past, it was a military type
Yeah,
teaching.
discipline.
Discipline.
Yeah.
doesn't always work, you know. One size fits all. It doesn't,
No.
you know, one style fits all. You got to be able to now connect with like, you got to be diverse as a teacher and versatile.
And that's what it was. This is what the point I was getting at, is that, like, it was great to see these teachers. They were so happy that, like, such and such a person was in the class that day. And I was like, this is fucking deadly to see,
Yeah.
because, you know, going forward, maybe they have the right people there. If they can just get the system in place now to go with the people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
have the right users for the right system, if that made sense. Do you know what I mean? The teachers to fit the education system. So, yeah, that was good. And we really enjoyed that. Like,
What an experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was very wholesome or something, wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
nice. It was like I went full circle. You know, like we were once in them chairs, and now we're on the other side of the table telling the kids,
Yeah.
you have the fucking word at your feet here. Use it.
Privilege. It's
Yeah.
a privilege. It really is. And I feel the same way, you know. And I never thought I would be invited back to schools to stand and speak to 100 or 200 students. Like, you know, it's incredible. And I sometimes have to pinch myself as well, you know, that, like, I'm back there to share, you know, because I have something to offer these guys. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
that it's giving back as well. It makes you feel good. It's good work. You know what I mean? It's really good work. You know, you're not kind of trying to pull the wool over people's eyes. You're actually giving
Yeah.
really good
Advice.
tools for living advice.
Yeah.
You feel good about yourself after.
We have to do suggestions, boys.
Yeah.
We just
Right.
have
Sorry.
We only have 3 little quick ones, yeah? So, all the suggestions this week was just love the live show episode.
Yeah,
there,
we
the
released the live
next
show
live
audio
show.
last week, so there's a lot of feedback from
So
that.
the whole entire thing was just how good the live show was and when the next one is. No dates, nothing yet. We're
Something in
not
the
hiding
works.
it. We're not
Something in the works. Something in the works.
Leave it with us. Someone said, love the podcast, controversial opinion, but do you think use where you are from as is our identity?
Right. I don't see how that's controversial.
It's not controversial.
I don't think it is, anyways.
Yeah.
I think we do use that as an identity.
Yeah.
I'm proud of where I come from.
Yeah.
Wear it on my sleeve. I always represent my area, and I think you should.
Yeah.
I've worked with a lot of people who came from all over the country, but you'd never know where they were from. They have a very neutral accent, and you'd be like, where are you from? And they'd be from bleeding Ennisclare. And I was like, why do you sound like you're from Donnybrook? You know, like that. And then they'd have a few points on them on a night out, and you'd hear their accent to come back out, and I'd be like, own where you're from. You can't change where you're from. You were brought up there. It's who you are. Wear it with pride. This is who you are.
Yeah.
You know, like that. Don't let anybody tell you different. Now you might get a bit of stick here and there, but that's just banter. That's what we all do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
but
like, and we do it with everybody. Where you from? Are they get toy? Oh, sorry to hear.
Yeah.
It's a bit of banter.
Yeah, of
But it's
course.
who you are.
Yeah.
It doesn't define you, but it can help make who you are.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a purposeful thing on people as well. Like, I think sometimes when people spend a lot of time in an area, they can kind of their accent might become a little bit kind of.
But not after 6 months, Eric.
No, well then but you ever see those people that go to England for a week's holidays and they come back?
And they come back
"Hold
saying
on, mate."
blood in it and all.
Yeah, no, that's. No,
There's Bishop is prime example. You don't know what accent that fella is. He's American 1 minute, Dublin the next, London the next. You don't know
Yeah,
what. Do you
yeah.
know what I mean? But yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, I think too many people from our area talk like us at the start, and then they get somewhere or get to a platform or get to even RTE or whatever, and you see their accent changing, and I'm like, don't do that. You get me? I think too many people try and hide. I think you used to. I think nowadays there's more people coming forward that sound like us, or from the inner city, or from wherever they're from, and they're proud of it and they're showing it. And I think that's the right way to go about it.
But I think that should be from anywhere you're from.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, but I'm even talking about even people from Cork and
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
here and there. Like, I'm not going to say the name. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Newtown, Mount Kennedy. Boom. All right, sound.
Sound.
Yeah.
Right. Would Calvin ever go into politics? Seems fairly knowledgeable.
Who said that? Where you getting that from? Knowledgeable?
No, I'd agree. I'd agree with him. It's gone. No, it's not gone. One second.
Politics.
Mitchell Wade. Shout out to Mitchell Wade. I think that's your name.
Would I don't know if I would. I don't see, that's a weird one, because to get into politics and running elections and stuff like that, it's a dicey game to get into, you know what I mean? There's so much like, what would you say? There's backstabbing and stuff like that, you know, and smear campaigns.
sucked
Like,
into the system.
yeah, you know, you see the horrible side of politics, you know, people kind of shooting each other down, and you look at Micheál Martin and Mary Lou MacDonald, oh, I'm more working class than you, know, I'm more in touch with the real world than you, and you're like, what is this Can we not just have someone sit down and have a civil debate about policies and get the
Yeah, I
fucking
hate
system
that
fixed?
party politics,
you know,
playing
like,
that games.
yeah.
You know, it's like look at you, it's ridiculous.
Look at you, I'm more in touch with you. Oh, you have 2 houses. All right,
Yeah.
whatever. What are you
Yeah.
pointing fingers for?
Yeah.
You know,
There's work to be done. Like,
there-
There's work to be
can we
done.
not just all get on the same fucking team and get this shit done?
Get the shit done? Yeah.
I know how politics works. Maybe that's where the knowledgeable side comes
See how
from.
riled up you're getting already about
Yeah.
politics. I'd put
I
these
think I
politics
just
for you.
twisted the yoke and just let
Yeah.
it go there, wasn't it?
It's because that's the side of politics. Do you know what the problem is with politics? The people. People are the problem. You know, the system needs to be fixed. The people are the ones who won't fix it. Like in my line of work, when there's a problem, you sit around, you say, "This is what needs to be fixed," and you go and do it. Everyone's on the same team. It's not like I think this way should be done, or I think it's this way, and then you let people argue. It's like, no, this is the way it gets done. Here's the data to back it up, and we do it. And that's why I think that's what we need more with politics. There's too much pride, and it's like, oh well, remember your party did this back in 2015, and what about when you did this? And you're like, what is on about? Like, it's 2022. Don't mind what happened 7 years ago. This is what's happening now. Let's get this done. You know, and then just it's just I don't know. I don't think I ever could. I don't know. Maybe leave it with me. I don't think I could get into it though. Do you know what I mean? Like me face on posts and knocking on doors. Oh, vote for me. This is what I'll do for you. And they always deliver false promises. And I'm gonna bring it up.
I
Fuck
actually
it.
think that I actually think a lot of them genuinely have like
Good intentions.
and then I think once they get in there, it's the system. I think the system is.
I don't know.
I don't know. Like I think it's.
I have an example here, and I'm gonna
Right, go
I'm
on.
gonna just throw it out. And it's relevant now because I retweeted it the other day as well. You look at O'Devney Gardens and the housing up there in O'Devney Gardens. There's a cuckoo fund coming in there. Gary Gannon was the one who put that across the line. It was shot down by many people in Dublin City Council, and he was the one who was like, "No, I'm the politician. I know what I'm talking about." When he got backlash from the public, the deal ended up falling through. And anyways, it wasn't worth the paper it was written on. That's at the going full circle now. Again, it's come back around. Dublin City Council have chosen not to invest in that. Cuckoo funds are going to come in from overseas and they're going to buy up all the houses in O'Devney Gardens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of the most rich working class places for culture in Dublin. You know, you go up there, that is Dublin up there. People in that area won't be able to afford a house up there, won't be able to afford to rent the houses up there. And he was supposed to be somebody from our area who I know. So he knocked on doors. He told people, I'm from this area, I grew up here. And there you go. If that's supposed to be one of my own doing that, I don't want to be mixing with that. You know, so yeah, I'll give me 2 cents, but like everyone can give that 2 cents, can't they? Opinions are like arseholes. Everybody has them, and some people stink.
Yeah, but on that topic, I'm not going to say a lot either because I don't know enough about it. But when you're talking about the housing population, like the housing crisis in this country and the way it is with the vulture funds and everything coming in, it's disgusting.
Rotten.
It turns my stomach. It makes me ashamed to be Irish that's going on in terms, because there's hard working people out there, couples. Husbands, wives, and all that can't afford living in their parents' house. It's disgrace. It's not good, and that's having a very negative effect on people's mental health as well. Can you imagine, like a professional, like say a hard working man, right, putting in a hard shift every week, and he might have 1 or 2 young kids as well, and a wife, and she's working too, and then they're using their in-laws or their parents to help out with child support and everything. Imagine his self-esteem thinking like we can't get a house. You know what I mean? Like, and I know like. There's equal gender equality and all that now, but still a man
But
feels
the
like
ego,
there's
isn't
still
it,
a man,
man?
the ego
Yeah.
inside of a man. He wants to be able to kind of provide, you know what I mean, and live in, provide like and be able to have their own home and that, like that can't be good for your esteem. So that's another area that's having a very profound impact on people's health in this country.
This country's bollocks. Give it 50 years time, right? When all the young people now are old and retired, what's going to be there in this country? You know? Look at the emigration rates in this country in the next few years when the borders open back up and the COVID restrictions are lifted. I want to see what it's like. What month are we in now? April 2023. I want to see the emigration rates for Ireland. I'd be very surprised if they're not skyrocketed.
So we want change and we want it now.
Yeah.
Right, so you're not going into politics then?
Not yet, anyways.
All right, cool. Right, Eric, I won't say jumping straight into you because we're at the spending God knows how long shite now of us there. So, what we do with every guest, bring us right back to the start. What's your name? Where'd you come from? What was life like growing up?
Yeah, my name is Eric Donovan. I'm from Athy, County Kildare, and
Sorry to hear.
what was like life growing up? Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I had a fun upbringing, but it was a tough upbringing. It was a tough upbringing. Like my mum and dad, like as I said earlier on, they got married very young, and I was their 4th child. And when I was around 6 months old. I think their marriage broke down, and my dad moved off to England. He lives there today. Still, we have good relationship and that, but like he's living over there. He's married, and my when I was about 3 years old, my mum met my stepdad Brian, and they're still together today. And I have two younger sisters from there, so there's six of us, six kids, and then my mum Brian, and we grew up in, like I said, a council estate. It was some crack growing up, like, you know what I mean, really fun, like, because huge families, populated area, bit chaotic, but there was beauty in that, everyone in and out. Like, if I went back to that estate now, I couldn't tell you 10 households, but there was 120 houses or something like that. Sorry, it was 112 before. There was a little kind of an adjacent estate built onto it, it was extended a little bit.
You find that, like, sorry,
112 houses, yeah.
When you go somewhere and it's quiet, like, if you were in a house that's quiet and you're like, I can't settle here. Do you not find that?
Yeah, well, there's
because you said about the chaos and having a big family and all.
Yeah. There probably is an element of that. We're very loud, very loud when we talk and all that. Like, back in my house, and I don't know if it's because they're all shouting over each other, trying to be heard.
You need that kind of little bit. That's what it's like, because I moved down my man's house.
Yeah.
And when I got
Silence
back there,
can be deafening.
Yeah, I fucking hate, like, John, when there's, like, you can't. You're just sitting there in the house and it's quiet, and you're like, it's too quiet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I go into my ma's house, I cause murder in there, and then I leave, and I'm like, right, I needed that little dose.
Yeah.
And I got home then. Sorry, in any
No. So that was it. Just I knew everybody. I knew everybody in the estate, and every household, and like I said, it was good fun, really good crack. And there was a railway, there was a track behind the estate. We used to spend a lot of time out there and just running out the fields and playing sport, doing all sorts of things, And then, school, like I said, school wasn't, I didn't really excel in school at all. And I gravitated towards others that didn't, kind of were on the kind of same kind of level as me. So I didn't feel alone, that kind of way. You kind of gravitate towards them. But I was 7 years old and I walked into a boxing club, and that was a game changer for me, because growing up in that kind of dysfunctional kind of environment, and even with my family, like, there was a huge bond, and like, there's a great bond and connection for each other, great love for each other. It's a bit dysfunctional though. This, like, and then school was kind of like, school is a routine and structure environment, and I didn't really have that routine and structure. It's a little bit kind of chaotic, my own self, like, a bit wild. But anyway, when I followed my two older brothers down to the local boxing club, it was in an old nuns' hall on the outskirts of the estate we grew up in, and I remember floating the idea by my mum. She didn't want me to go down. You're not going. You're too young. It's too rough and tough and everything, But I hate to say this, but there wasn't many times where I actually followed my mum's advice. Poor mother, my poor mum. But went in, and I loved it. As soon as I walked in, I loved it, like, everything about it. You know what I mean? The atmosphere, and then I excelled, and then boxing kind of just became the most positive kind of influence in my life at that time. And I had a great coach, brilliant coach, and some, like, we forget, like, it's a thankless job too, being a coach in a kind of a volunteer sport, like boxing or GA or soccer or whatever it is. But coaches can have an incredible impact, like teachers on young kids. And my coach had a great impact on my life.
And do you ever have any aspirations as a kid to do anything other than boxing? Do you ever think, like, I'll become whatever?
No, never did. Never actually had to stop and think, It was just kind of like, just a wild young kid that just kept going with the flow. Wherever the kind of lights directed me, I was guided by the wrong lights though, you know what I mean? But I just kind of kept flowing with it, like, and there was never a time where I thought, no, you'd hear some of your friends getting a job here or getting a job there, or building sites were big. When I was becoming a teenager, the Celtic Tiger was coming, and some lads were leaving school and they were labouring on sites, getting big money, and I'd be like, oh, I want to do that, but so I walked onto a site, I wouldn't know me arse, me elbow, like, you know what I mean? And I just was never that kind of never savvy around that kind of area or in that environment, but just kept going to the boxing. I excelled at boxing very young, 11 years of age, Irish champion, and winning multiple Irish titles, getting 14 years of age, I was being called up to represent Ireland and captain the team and go to European schoolboy championships. And even in school, I was walking around school academically kind of completely clueless, but I felt like I was a champion. So I was somebody like a bit of an ego, you know.
Yeah.
And you think you're great and all, but you know later on you can, you know, when you grow up and you start learning about things in life, you realize that your amigo or your ego is not your amigo. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So. But that was it. This boxing then became something. It wasn't something that I said, "Oh wow, I can go somewhere with this." It wasn't like that. It was just something that kept me out of trouble and something that gave me something to do. I remember winning the Irish title at 11 years of age, and it was for the first like first time that I was aware of it. But I got a lot of attention and I got a lot of praise, and these were things that I wasn't really used to, you know. And I loved that, you know. Oh, well done, champ. You know, you're great. People were really noticing me, you know what I mean? And I did have a special talent, like I really did, because it was easy for me. And guys were not really getting close to me at all, you know? And I was winning with relative ease, you know? And I had a great head for the game. I was a southpaw, left-handed, and it was a computer scoring system, the old computer scoring
old
system.
days,
That's gone now, but, you know, I was elusive, I was slick, I was sharp, I was fast, you know, and I, you know, did really well. But when I hit the age of 15, boxing became uncool, or I became uncool for boxing, you know, because that was the same age I dropped out of school, and that was the first, like, kind of that area I started dabbling in drink and drugs, and, you know, getting a taste of that lifestyle, and wanted to be hanging around in the alleyways and the fields, and
Boxing was getting in the way.
didn't want to put in the hard work and no running the roads or sacrificing or dieting or anything like that anymore. So, yeah. And I'd go away from the club, and I don't know how many times I left the club and wouldn't go back. And that's when my coach would go on the pursuit, and he'd follow me, and he'd come to the house and he'd pull me back and talk to me, you know, listen to me. And he went above and beyond the call of duty when it comes to coaching, let's say, because nowadays, like, I often think if I put a different coach or whatever, like, through the same, they'd say, good luck to him, do you know, let him on, good luck.
Yeah.
But he never, you know, he always kept coming back because he knew I was making the wrong decision, you know, and
Yeah.
and he pulled me back, and he said, this is coming up, you can go here, you can go to the Olympic Games, you can go to World Europeans, you know, and you'd be like, Jesus, he's right, you know, because sometimes it was that FOMO, you know, when you're young, at 15, sure, I know everything. I'm 15 years of age, I know everything, like, you know, and you know nothing. You really
You
don't.
really think you're missing out when you're not out with the boys and you're not drinking, and you're missing nothing.
Yeah, and you know nothing either at that time. You think you know everything, you know. So, no, I'm so glad that he did, and then I became a ties for my club's first ever senior All Ireland champion, which is huge, you know.
Yeah.
Senior, 18 years of age, 2004, and boxing now kind of changed for me from being from being something that was just a hobby and keeping me out of trouble to being a potential job, a potential career, you know, possible Olympic Games, and I got invited up to the high performance team in Dublin here to train with household names, you know, Andy Lee, Kennedy, Katie Taylor, Conlon, all these guys, you know what I mean? Darren Sutherland, God be good to him, like, you know, but just really, you know, top level Olympic legends, Irish boxing legends, and I loved it up there. Every Tuesday to Friday, we stayed up there with everything, all the facilities, all the, you know, whatever. But every Friday I had to go back home, went back into a very, you know, unhealthy kind of a toxic environment then, drinking, drugs, just searching for oblivion, you know. I spent a lot of my years like that, burning the candle at both ends, you know, not knowing how to go with it, but sometimes saying, sure, next week I'll change, or next month. And the funny thing is, you don't think you're doing too much. Like, you don't think you're being that kind of off the rails or whatever, because everyone's doing it around you. And you're thinking, sure, everyone's doing it, like, you know what I mean?
And you're also thinking, if I'm only doing it on the weekend, sure, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
and I'm not addicted.
Yes.
I can go Monday to Thursday and I'm fresh.
Yeah.
But then when you're on it for the weekend, you're like, no, sure, I can put it down during the week, so I'm not addicted.
That's it.
Well, try and go a few weekends without doing it then.
That's it.
And then you realise, oh, bollocks.
And it was like that, Terence. It was like that with me, because I felt like as a youngster, like, you don't know when you cross the invisible line of you're screwed now. You're hooked.
You got deep now.
You know, you
definitely.
don't know that. There is no kind of a
sign
to say, oh, if you keep going, you're even though you probably do know, like, you're going down the wrong road, but there's no kind of a threshold.
There's a fine line between doing it on the weekends and then you're stuck in the gap on a Wednesday and you're doing it and you're like, hey,
and when I think back as well, I had great cracks and fun as well. Do you know what I mean? Because it was good fun. Like, as much as it was bad, and mad stuff as well. Like, you know, it was like, so you grew up in that. That was just crack and the buzz of it all. But like, you know, I was so young. I had this innate ability to shake off the damage of the weekend before. A couple of blowouts, 3 or 4
Yeah.
sessions, and you're back in the game.
Yeah.
You think, oh, that's grand, so I could do that, you know. And then, you know, eventually you come to a stage where you can't do it anymore. You can't keep shaking, and you're in trouble then, you know. And I ended up in trouble with it. You know?
Has to take its toll on you eventually.
It did, yeah.
When did that happen for you, Eric? When do you think you hit that wall there?
Well, throughout my there was many different stages throughout my early life where was could have been cause for intervention, say, or alarm bells or whatever, but I brush it off. You justify it. It's mad when you're in addiction, right? Addiction is something that, like, no one wants to say I'm in addiction, or nobody wants to say I'm an alcoholic or I'm a drug addict or I'm a compulsive gambler or whatever, because there's a shame attached to all of that. And as society, we still haven't changed around that. So people will try and work their way out of that without actually acknowledging or taking ownership. They'll try and, like, for me, I always try to find a way around it without actually addressing it. You know what I mean? Without actually addressing the issue. So
People who go out to work every day, but they're still drinking in the night. They're like, well, I can go out to work.
yeah, they're functioning. They're
Yeah,
functioning
you're still an
alcoholics or whatever.
alcoholic,
Yeah, there's
yeah.
still a problem. Their life is unmanageable in a way, in other ways. And for me, there was a load of incidents like that. But changing meant putting everything away and giving up everything. Now, the prospect of that, and then the thoughts of what life would be like without the drink, if that was such a huge part of my life, I think, how can I live without that? I'm going to break all my friends. I won't be able to go here. I won't be able to go there. I can't do that. Oh, geez. So I'll try different ways of making it work. And you try different drinks. You try different clubs, different pubs, different friends, different groups. Try every trick in the book. But the last, never tried actually stop.
Stopping, yeah.
But I realized when I did need to stop, I had to ask for help. I needed support, like, you know what I mean. I needed support, and then in early 2012, I went into a rehabilitation, and best thing I ever did in my whole life. But my addiction cost me Olympic Games and everything, like, you know what I mean. That's the level of, you know, that's it. You know, that's what it took for me. I've made peace with that. I don't think now. I don't regret it. Like, well, I obviously regret it. I don't sit down and feel.
Don't dwell on it.
I don't dwell on
Yeah.
it because I think, look, listen, that was my path. I had to walk it, and I'm very happy now in where I am in my life now. And you know what? I didn't make the Olympics, but you know, I helped some other people who, you know, preparing for the Olympics. I helped Katie prepare for the London Olympics, you know, and to prepare her for her opponent that she boxed in the final, Sofia Ochigava, the southpaw, you know. So I remember I went to Olympic training camp with Katie as main sparring partner, and you know, I'm a coach now today, as well as being an active boxer still. I haven't got long left in my own career, but maybe I'll help somebody someday to go to the Olympics. Maybe I'll coach somebody, you know what I mean? And that's okay. It's okay for me. I've made peace with it, basically, you know what I mean? It's not something I dwell on. But that's it, yeah. That's really it, you know.
So what? Take us back to 2012. Like, where did you draw the line there and say, right, this is it. I'm actually gonna swallow my pride and say I need help here.
It got to a dangerous stage where I was blacking out. I was making silly mistakes, doing things that I had no recollection of, no control of. Waking up the next morning, being told this, being told that, going, oh no, you serious, you know? And then I just realized that, like, where's the fun in all of this? Because one time it was fun, you know? Where's the fun in all of this? Like, how can it be fun? Waking up, regrets, remorse, guilt, shame, embarrassment. And you're paying money for all of this, don't forget, you know? And then, now that's easier to say. That's a very logical, kind of a reasonable way of saying,
when
yeah,
you're
why,
in it,
you know?
you
But
don't-
when
yeah.
you can't. But yeah, it just got to the stage where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. You know what I mean? And I knew I had to change. And the sad thing is, and it's important for us to say this, is suicide became a real possibility, a real option for me. You know, a real option, an attractive kind of a prospect, you know, which is terrible, and became like an out for me, you know. And then it was either kind of that way or that way, and I didn't know anything about recovery in the sense that I didn't know anything about what help was out there. I didn't know anything about therapists or support meetings or support groups or whatever. Had no clue. Like I was like an alien or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you can't change, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't do it of your own accord, or like, you know, and not
No,
knowing
that's not uncommon. A lot
Yeah.
of people don't realise how much help there is out
how
there.
much help.
A lot of people don't.
And when I put out the hand and looked for help, I had to get honest with Eric. I had to get straight up and honest with myself, and I had to change how I was living my life. I'd be like, dishonesty goes hand in hand with addiction. You know, it's just part and parcel. You can't do anything about it. Like, so being dishonest, discreet, secretive, all that. I had to go the opposite. I had to take ownership. I had to accept. I had to be honest, come forward, and because no matter how smart or clever you think you are, man, you cannot change something or do something about an issue unless you acknowledge the issue and see it as a real issue, a real problem, you know. But if the problem is hidden up and if you don't address it that way, if you don't take ownership of it, you can't do anything about it. So I had to see it for a problem. I said, really, I have a problem here and I need help with it. And then, man, when I went into the rehab and all that, it just opened the door to me, opened the doors to a whole new world, a whole new possibility, a whole new different avenues, different possibilities, different opportunities. And I just kind of decided to kind of go that way, you know. Well, I had to, the juncture you come to, the Y in the road. You can go back this way and keep doing the same thing and hope for the best. But that's the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
You know, but go this way and see what, you know. And my life started to pick up, and thank God I'm in a good old place today. Yeah.
It's, for anybody who is in recovery, look, I agree. It's the best thing I've ever done myself as well. And again, opportunities start coming up. You start meeting new people. Like you stop being with the same clique that's in the pub and the same people that you're going to end up back in the gaff with, and you're doing it. And like, it's hard to even explain, isn't it? You just look at life different. You start thinking different. You get me? Like the way I used to be a very negative person. Do you get me? Like even my thoughts, like I'd be like,
Yeah.
like, even if I'd be on social media, I'd be looking at people and say, look at that fucking age, and look at this, and look at that. And now I'm just like, I'm at a stage in my life now where I'm just like, just happier now. Do you get me now? Although, like, I only got to a year clean and sober there the other week.
Oh, well done.
A couple of weeks ago it was.
Great milestone.
Yeah, it is. It's a big one. It was a tough one as well, because I got to 8 months, didn't I? And then I fucked up. And I said, right, we'll start again, clean slate. And then I got to the year. But I was a year sober. About 3 weeks before I posted it on social media. And the reason why I didn't is because I had all intentions of booking a hotel on a Friday to a Sunday and going on a big bender on my own. And I was just going to say, because I wanted to get out, something come over me. And I don't know whether it was the pressure of being a year sober was coming up. And because I didn't take too much notice of it, but I knew it was coming, do you get me? And I don't know. So I never posted that when I was, because I was saying to myself, I'm not going to do that and then go on a bender 2 weeks later. So I held off and I said, I'm just not even going to acknowledge it. And I'm going to do that. And for some reason, I still get like that now. Like, and I have a lot of good people around me. Obviously, I have Calvin there, but I've met a lot of good people through this podcast. I've Lim Rowan and Will R. White and people who know the crack and the Brian Pennies and all. Do you know what I mean? Who I talk to regularly.
Yeah.
And I chat to them about it and stuff. But like they say that'll pass eventually. Like,
Yeah,
you know
no,
what I mean?
it will. But you talked about support. Support, man. Without support, it's not possible. Support is essential for someone wanting to change. You got to be around like-minded people. You know, you got to be around people who've been there, been down that road. They speak the same language as you. You know, like someone said to me before, if you sit in a barber's long enough, you're going to get your hair cut. You know what I mean?
We heard that.
And it's so true. You know, like so. This is the thing, right? You're talking about, like, there's addiction is prevalent in society. That's just the way it is, like, you know what I mean? And there's many people who are in addiction, but they're kind of, as you said, getting through life and they're all right. They're not too bad, you know, and they're kind of, they think they're not too bad because they're living some sort of a normal life or functional life. And then you've got the others who are just really extreme, where it's kind of like, and that was me. I was extreme in the sense that I couldn't stop when I started, you know, and there was days where I wasn't a drinker every day, or I wasn't somebody that used or whatever every day. It was only like binging or something come out. So that's why I struggled with actually thinking that I had a problem or I was an addict or an alcoholic or etc. You know, because the perception I had of someone like that was someone stuck with a bottle down by the river and every day drinking like a wino
It's
type
that
of
vision of what
Yes.
that person is. Isn't
Yes.
It? Now, I was that person as well, though, who did it every day.
Yeah.
It got to that point where the last, say, 3-4 months before getting clean would have been in every single day thing. And I'm saying to myself, I'm in the gutter here.
Yeah.
But you'd still lie to yourself. You'd still say, but I'm not out in the streets and I'm not bleeding, sitting in my own piss, and you're still trying to think of people worse off
Yeah.
than you. They do you
To justify yourself.
while you're
actions, yeah.
dipping into a bag at 3 o'clock in the day.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is going on here?
But that's another thing there now as a society, because you do know that the country is awash with drugs, right? Cocaine and everything in this country is a huge demand for it. What's wrong with us as a society? What is wrong with us as a people that we have to? It's not a cheap drug. It's not a cheap drug. Costs a lot of money, but it lasts a very short. The effect lasts a very short
Yeah.
period of time. So you could easily spend 200-300 quid easily in one night out just on cocaine, without the drink or without clubs or without paying for taxis or
Wherever.
whatever. You know, and it can go on. You can pay more. You know, you can pay more. But like, what is that? Like, and people are leaving themselves in terrible debt.
Yeah.
And what is wrong? And because to be honest with you, like, it's not even the high is not even. It's a manufactured high. It's
Yeah,
an
it's unnatural.
artificial high.
Yeah.
The laugh and everything is not real. Like, look at the good laughs that you're having here, and people are getting from you. It's all natural. It's real. Why do we have to? Why are people doing that? There's a problem. You know, there's an emotional wound there, and unless they tidy up that, or unless they address that and get some help with that in sport, it's not going to get any better, do you know? And I just feel like that we need to become more wholesome. Because when I was sitting in that rehabilitation center, I was thinking, my life is over. I'm screwed. What am I going to do? What am I going to buzz off? And now I can't fill the days. There's not enough hours in the days. In life, I'm living. You know, I'm really and truly living. And I'm involved in projects. I'm involved in so much, like I say, going around speaking schools. That's a purposeful life I'm living now, you know, a purposeful life, a meaningful life. You know, I got married last October, like, you know, to my beautiful wife, Laura, and, you know, we have so many plans and dreams for the future, and I have some great relationships and friends, and I value them now, where before I was just like, I was anything. I was associate, I just hang around with associates, you know, I didn't even know who I was. You know, who is Eric? What's Eric stand for? What are you all about? I just became Eric the boxer, and that dangerously consumed my like. That's a dangerous place to be if you think you're just a boxer.
Yeah.
I'm just a boxer, and then the outcome of a boxing match would determine my self-worth.
Yeah.
If I lost, I was the worst piece of crap, because it was my only piece of credibility I had left. You know what I mean? But when I put away all that, man, when I started to go to work and do some work on myself, personal growth, learn about values, learn about myself, and this is something that I talk about to students a lot as well. EI is just as, if not more important than IQ. EI is emotional intelligence, understanding how you feel, you know, because this social anxiety is a huge thing today.
Yeah.
And a lot of people really struggle with that, you know. But it's about being able to kind of answer your feelings and emotions in a reasonable and smart way. But that comes from experience and having the tools. Like when I had anxiety before, I'd run off whatever, get a, you know, cigarette, or, you know, or drink, or planning the next party, or I had to take myself away from this anxiety, this uncomfortable feeling. Nowadays I don't. I'm like, what's going on here, you know? But I have the tools now, you see. I have the tools. I can pick up the phone, ring someone. Hey, I'm feeling a bit, you know, talk to my wife, do a bit of meditation, go for a run, and I have the tools now. And I learned there is far more therapeutic and holistic approaches than the self-destructive ones I've been using. Do you know? Not easy, but it takes the practice.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, you're not going to solve it tomorrow.
Nah,
No.
no. And I've come to like, I have accepted the fact that I will, like, because sometimes I do feel down, really down. And this is, I have to say this because sometimes people, oh, look, he's so confident. He's so, you know, sometimes I feel lonely even. I'm a married man. You know, sometimes I feel, and I have great friends, and I have great, you know, but sometimes I can just feel like that.
Yeah.
And I can feel a little bit off kilter or just something, but I don't have to act like that, act out on that anymore, you know. I can just let that be. Why do I feel that way? You know, and I've accepted that maybe that's always going to be the case, but it's okay. I
Yeah.
don't have to go off and do a mad one. you know.
Years, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can relate to everything
Communication
you're
as well,
saying.
you know.
Yeah, I can relate to every single thing you're
Do
saying.
you know what I mean? You were saying, oh, like a year, blah blah blah, and you don't think it's gonna get any easier. Like there's someone telling you, like
Yeah.
it does.
It's
Like
just
a year is only a
something-
drop in the ocean, Terence.
Yeah, sometimes it's just the intensity. Like every, like not every couple of weeks, maybe every, every two. Like there's no time frame on it, but every so often, like, cause it would have been like January, and then like I hadn't felt like that until March. Then, like where it was like intense. It was like I need to just go on a bender. I need to, but then. I'm trying to say to myself, you didn't in January, you got over that, and you were on a good track then, so you'll get over this. But then I'm waking up in the morning, it's my first thought in the morning sometimes, because it goes on for days. Sometimes I'm like, it's intense, I'm like, this is fucking, like now I have to do it. And then a few days will pass and I didn't, and I'll be coming back around, I'm like, oh, I'm grateful that I didn't. But I'm saying to myself, I know it's going to come up again at some stage. Do you get me? So it's just trying to deal with that.
And the more it comes up like that, like the more it comes up, then the more times you've dealt with it, then that takes, like, because it's easy to say to people, like, you know, oh, like, do this or do that. But everything, no matter what, takes practice.
Yeah.
You know, and the more times that you have to experience those, the better it is for you, because you're like, okay, this, I know what's going on here.
Imagine like you can say I've done it 10 times, I can do the 11th.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
Then the 11th becomes the 100th,
yeah,
like that. You know?
yeah, definitely. But it's a tough old road.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Beautiful journey, though.
Yeah.
You know?
Ah, big
See, like it's an amazing journey, and I've met some wonderful people. You're talking about people like that have you've spoken, February. Like the stories of transformation are beautiful. I hear so many, and I see with my own eyes, to see a person whose life is going down in the gutter, grab it by the scruff and turn it around, and the light and the glow and the spark and everything comes back into their life.
Yeah,
And then when they get their life back, their families get their life back, and the ripple effect.
Yeah.
And it is the other side, the flip side of it too, when they're going down the wrong hole. Everybody suffers, you know, but when they get it back, it's a beautiful feeling. And I just think it's one of the greatest sights you can see. Just somebody getting their life together and turn it around. Not everybody makes it. And that's the sad part, you know, because there is there's only a small percentage that actually get it.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you know
that's
what I
why
mean?
we're
Many
here
don't.
talking about
Yeah.
that. Like that's
Yeah.
now
Increase that number.
kind of definitely inspire someone else to go. Do you know what? I want to do that.
I got a phone call off a good friend of mine. He does a lot of good work in a rehabilitation centre in Kilkenny. And I spoke to him yesterday. It's Ashleen is the name of the rehabilitation centre. And it's a teenagers rehabilitation centre. And he just rang me and he just said, you know, I'm talking away to a couple of the young kids in here that know you from boxing and stuff, you know, and would you have a word for them, you know? And I just said, this is brilliant. And I told him, I said, guys, when I was in your, like I thought my life was over, but my life is only beginning. It's so many doors. Because a lot of these young kids think their life is over if they can't engage in alcohol or drugs or whatever, you know? But it's not. It's really just like, it's about stepping forward into that unknown. And that's the thing. It's unknown, you see. We don't know. We'd prefer to be comfortable in our uncomfortable surroundings, because that's where the drama, the mess, because we're conditioned to be that, the chaos, and we're all right there because we know it.
Yeah.
But go into a more peaceful, what would you say, a fruitful future. You know, it can be like, oh, I don't want to, will I go? But go, you know, go and be your best, spread your wings, broaden your horizons. It's a beautiful journey, it's an amazing journey. And like, I'm still discovering so much about myself. It's just a lovely journey, you know?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Brilliant, yeah.
So, you do a bit of boxing, Eric? We went off on with that.
Yeah.
Go drop of water in that there, will you? Come on.
Yeah.
So, yes.
When did you turn pro, Eric?
That's the mad thing, yeah. Like I at 28 years of age, I kind of retired from boxing, you know. I wasn't long back from Kazakhstan. I spent 8 months in Kazakhstan.
You done that
boxing
world
for them in
boxing?
the world.
Yeah.
It was absolutely incredible. One of the best experiences I've had in my life, but one of the toughest as well. Real tough environment. Like, but I learned so much.
That was a
about
mad setup, that, wasn't it?
mental.
Yeah.
Most of the Irish lads could box at home, train at home, and go and fight for their franchises.
Yeah.
But the Kazakhstan franchise wanted you there in camp. We're staying in the foothills of the Almaty Mountains. It was a real rocky story, you know. Minus 30 in the winter.
Yeah.
Come on, yeah. Minus 30 in the winter. Oh, it's absolutely bonkers. Like, and these guys really chiseled, like, you know.
What year are we talking now?
2012, 2013.
Yeah.
And anyways, yeah, it was an amazing experience, one of just incredible experience. And when I came back, then that kind of gave me the impetus, gave me the confidence to go back and look at education again. Do you know what I mean? Because if I can survive Kazakhstan, I can go back. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. But I was moving in more better circles, like, you know, when I say like more supportive circles, you're talking about, like, you know, I had this fear that kind of fear of education because of my primary and secondary experiences. So I closed the door, locked that away in the basement, like never going near there, you know. But then when I was 28, I was standing, well, I realised that I put all my eggs into one basket. I gave all my life to boxing. I have no education, no work experience. I have 2 young boys under the age of 10. Like, what do I do? Like, you know, I'm not funded by Sport Ireland anymore. I'm not number 1 in Ireland anymore. And I'm standing in the queue signing on the dole, you know. I'm kind of like, this is not how I envisaged my life to be. And that's when I decided to call boxing, call it, you know, a day on boxing. And opened my mind to going back into education. And I took on a 2-year full-time diploma course in 2013. And graduated in 2015 with a diploma in counselling and psychotherapy, because that gave me so much help and support. And I wanted to go back into that area. I was about to go for my degree 2016 when I had this crazy idea to kind of, hey, I think you've another round left in you, you know? And that was it. I had so much regrets. Like, I let down a lot of it, let down my family and my coach and all that. They put a lot of time and everything. And I just felt, look, I won a hell of a lot as an amateur. I did. European, like, I'm a major medal winner, 5-time Irish senior champion. I've won a lot, but I missed out on a lot too. And I just kind of felt like, do you know what? I want to make amends. I want to right a few wrongs.
Yeah.
And the conclusion was I can always go back and box or do my degree, but I can't always go back and box.
Yeah.
So at a month before my 31st birthday, I turned professional. And look, I won the Celtic title, I won the Irish title, and I got 2 chances to step up to world level on Sky Sports. Came up short. Nearly pulled it off against Alpha Barrett. But didn't get close against Robisi Ramirez, one of the greatest of all time. But hey, man, how do you measure success? 10 years ago, I was on my knees, a broken man.
Yeah.
Here I was 5-6 weeks ago, walking out in front of 15,000 people in world media.
Yeah.
Just incredible.
Do you know what's something, Eric, I noticed about you when you box? You box with a smile on your face.
Yeah.
It's like you're aware. Like,
I don't notice that.
it's like you're
Probably trying to befriend him. Come on, man, don't be. Come on, let's do it. We can be friends.
But no, you're so, it's like, even after, you're so grateful. Even like after your last defeat, you embrace each other, you loved it. You're so grateful to be there. It's like you're aware. I haven't got many more days left in me. I know this is going to be few and far between the amount of times I get back in between these ropes. And you're embracing it, which I don't think a lot of people do. Even in defeat, you were like, you know what? Yeah, he's the better man, and let's appreciate him.
So good.
Whereas some people would be bitter in that situation, be like, no, fuck this and this, that, and this is what went wrong, and blah, blah, blah. But you accepted it, right? Yeah, I lost, we move on.
Yeah.
Let's acknowledge how great he is.
And you see, Calvin, it comes back to where the outcome of a boxing match used to determine my self-worth.
Yeah.
I used to feel crap. But like, I walked out of that arena, the Hydro Arena in Glasgow, not feeling like a loser, even though I lost the fight and I was bitterly disappointed that I didn't give a better showing. Like, the lowest expectation I had of myself was to give him a good run for his money and go the distance. And in the back of my mind, I thought maybe I could pull it off. Like, that's the fighter's mentality, you know. I wouldn't have got in.
Have that, though.
You have to. I wouldn't have got in the ring if I didn't think like that. But I walked out there feeling like a winner.
Yeah.
You know. Now, and I know, like, I said this, like, you know, done an interview with Gavin Casey as well. He's brilliant journalist, and I said, like, keyboard warriors be like, oh, you got smashed and whatever.
Yeah.
They don't understand. You know, the success is getting in there to fight one of the greatest ever. I didn't pull it off, but like, at the end of the day, I probably wasn't supposed to. He's 28 in his prime, double Olympic champion. I'm 36 after being through the mill. Even getting there is in a way, it's heroic. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, you know. So, and then in the back of my, like, there's also, for me, I want to be a coach. Like I say, I am a coach. My fighters, I believe, will get to that level some stage, and I can talk them through it. I've been there, you know. So that will help too, like, you know.
We had some good words to say about you as well after that fight. You seen it on Twitter,
Yeah.
what you were saying about each other. That was great to see.
He was a nice man. He
Yeah.
was very, like, really respectful, courteous. He actually said to me, like, thanks, because nobody else would fight him. They couldn't get lads ranked higher than me wouldn't fight him. And that's the kind of, I suppose that's the kind of negative side of boxing. People, avoiding each other and
Yeah,
he'll
it's the
event,
worst
yeah,
thing in the world.
And I was kind of like, why wouldn't you? Like, the greatest. Like, it's like if you're looking at a football equivalent, like, he's your Messi, Ronaldo, a double Olympic champion, over 400 amateur fights lost.
Cuban.
Do you know? So,
Yeah.
but no, look, I mean, look, I didn't get close, but I tell you, I got very close against Sefa Barrett. That was an incredible fight. Like, I don't know if you've seen that fight, but that was in Eddie Hearn's backyard, the fight
Yeah.
camp. And I was gutted about that because I was so close to pulling off a famous victory, and then, like, he just came out with the jackpot, and he needed it, and he got me.
and
and
he got it, yeah.
I took my eye. I kind of took my eye off the ball. I was cruising, so I was doing so well. I was kind of like an outer body experience. This me here, like,
Yeah.
flying, 35 years of age, boxing and a knockout artist, like, and I'm kind of like, oh, you can't get me, and I'm flying. Next minute, he got me.
you, yeah.
He got me, and then boom, yeah. And just I never really recovered. But yeah, different game. Professional and amateur, different game.
Yeah, we could talk about this at the start, just before we come on and start recording, about like how much, how slick and what we saying about the fans. Like, fans are so more appreciative in amateur. I was like, oh, look at that was a nice hook and clap. Where
Yeah.
pros like, kill him.
Oh yeah, they're
Kill him.
fighting for blood, like,
Yeah.
They really are, and they want to see that knockout. They want to see it. They're more aggressive, they really are aggressive, and they're more like. The sport is brutal in itself. It's ruthless. Like, where would you ever get it? Like,
Unforgiving, yeah.
Your job is to go out there and do a number if you can. The bigger number you can do, and the better.
Yeah.
It's not in our, like, I don't know, like, as human beings, like, it's not part of our natural nature.
No, but it's that bit of barbaricness that's in us. Do you know what I mean?
There is it. Yeah. Because
And if you look through history, like, look at the Romans.
Yeah.
The Romans used to do, like, what's the difference between us and the Romans?
You
Yeah.
see, you said it. I was a week after my fight. The weekend after, I went to Rome with my wife Laura, and we did the Colosseum and everything. And it's always been on my to-do list. And I heard that only 2% of the gladiators survived. And I was thinking to myself, Jesus, it's not
Just as
too
well,
bad.
yeah.
It's not too bad. Like, I'm walking around here, like, but that's really it. Professional boxing is that kind of prize fighting in general.
Yeah.
And I tell you something, which I'm a little bit kind of annoyed at myself for not doing this, but I think I went into the Rubisi Ramirez. I never said this to anybody. The Rubisi Ramirez fight a little too casual. I went into the Zafabara fight shouting and roaring at myself, come on, banging gloves, like I had to transform into something, and then so I had this mad idea to think that, okay, maybe I'm a little bit was too emotional, that maybe going in against Ramirez, let's just detach the 15,000 people, the worldwide media, ESPN, Sky Sports, and it's only another fight, and I tried to kind of remove the emotion from it, but I actually think that was in the end a bad thing, because I was like there, but I wasn't there. Do you know what I mean? I was in the ring, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
There wasn't a fighting spirit there.
Yeah.
For a while, I worked off we had the tactics and strategies to navigate the earlier rounds and do the best we could, and then the blood opened, a few things went against me, and then the punch that done it, it was kind of my own silliness. I turned the back of my head to the punch, so it got me there. That's why it was so devastating. The most vulnerable part of your head. It was a power punch from him, and it kind of got me there, scrambled my senses. Now, a fighter will always say, "Ref, no, I'm grand." The ref made the right decision.
Yeah.
I was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you kind of knew that. You knew
I
that.
was
You
fine.
accepted it.
Yeah.
That's what I think. It's that humbleness in it. You're like, look, he won, and we move on. You know what I mean? And it's great to see that. That's what I'm saying. Like, you kind of have that appreciation. I haven't got many more of these. I'm coming to the back end of my career. The fact you're self-aware and you're acknowledging that you haven't got the pride to say, no, I'll keep going. You know, it's, you know what I mean? That's great to see. And you're embracing these moments. Like, you'll be able to look back in 10 years' time. Like, do you remember when COVID happened and no one was fighting and I was in Eddie Hearn's backyard fighting?
Yeah, that was a mad experience.
Like, you can say that's mad now. Imagine what you're going to be like in 10 years' time when we look back, when there's
That's
arenas
true.
being sold out, there's 50,000 people watching fights or whatever. And you're going to be like, I had to fight in front of nobody. This is Eddie Hearn's backyard.
The way it worked that time was like you had to be locked in a hotel for a week.
Yeah,
So-
and he was getting the minibus up.
So we had to go. Yeah, we had to go over there, and we're locked in the hotel for a week. Everyone that's associated with the show, no fans,
Yeah.
just the boxing personnel and the medical personnel and the journalist personnel. So all the camera crew and everybody, we're all in the one half of the
Did he not rent the whole
Excuse me.
hotel, didn't he?
No, they had the whole. They had a half.
Oh, right.
They had half of the hotel. I think it was I'm not sure what it is. But anyway, we had the whole half, so we were in each other's faces for the whole way. I could see Zappa Barra walking around and everything, you know. I had a book with me, right? So they were trying to come up with all these kind of social media shows, and again, keep everyone occupied and active, and keep the fans engaged. Like, there was so much media; it was like a different level. Before that, I was running around selling tickets to me mammy, me brothers, me sisters, cousins, who, you know, like even on fight day, I was running around selling tickets. This here was like, you don't have to sell tickets because no fans allowed, but you're going to get a purse, everything's paid for you, flights, accommodation, hotel, your food, everything. And I was just like, wow, this is a different level. I love this. And I was reading a book going over, right? And I'll tell you the name of the book in a second, but then they were doing this show called In the Bubble, and Eddie Hearn would be with one of the other guys. I think it was Chris. I can't think of his surname, but one of the guys works from Matchroom, and they would do a show, and they would show a couple of products or items that boxers had, and they have to guess who the boxer by the item. That's such a boxer, you know. And they asked me for my book. They were adamant they wanted my book, and I said, no, I can't. No, I'm not giving you the book. The book I was reading is called 10 Men Dead. It was the Irish hunger strikers.
Oh,
So this
Mad Republic.
It was about the 10 hunger strikers, like, you know what I mean? And can you imagine Eddie Hearn standing there trying to describe?
Yeah.
You know, they probably would have guessed it was the Irish lad anyway.
Fella, yeah.
But I just said no, I can't. Anyway, like, I gave them. I think I gave them my what do you call it, little toothbrushes for my braces. I used to have braces, so I have these little kind of little brushes that. So I gave them, and then they worked off that. But that was mad. That was just a mad story, yeah.
You're fighting in about bleeding a week or something. What's the
Well,
story
what
there?
am I fighting in 14th of May? 14th of May in
5 weeks, is it?
the Europa Hotel in Belfast. Yeah, I think it's 4 weeks from this Saturday night. Yeah, so the Europa Hotel. It's kind of a comeback fight. That's the thing about my professional career. It never started off, like, I never thought I would get to the heights that I got to or box on those platforms. Like, it was always just about have a few fights, maybe Irish title would be a dream. Got the Irish title, got the Celtic title, then the Irish title. Then I was kind of, hold on here, might be setting the bar a bit low, you know. There might be a possibility of a European, you know, definitely. Because I sparred a lot of guys like Ryan Burnett, James Tennyson, Steve Arms, really good opponents, and a guy from South Africa called Venteka, former world champion, and I was kind of holding my own with these guys, having good spars. So I said maybe I can do all right. And then the 2 shots at world level came out of blue against Barrett and Rubisi Ramirez. I never look. I nearly, like I said, tell everyone I had a good run against Barrett, but didn't get close against Ramirez. Now the focus comes back to where it was initially, to the European. So this fight here in Belfast on the 14th of May is kind of a comeback fight, but then hopefully later on in the year I get that shot at the European title, maybe EU European or something like that. And I am fully aware that I am in the final stages. It'd be lovely to bow out like that, you know what I mean? But regardless of what happens, I have come back in to boxing to have no regrets. I know when I leave, there will be no regrets.
Yeah, and you're going to leave in your own accord as well.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't do that, so that's something to hold high as well, you know.
Yeah.
So this is your last year in boxing, then, is what essentially what you're saying.
No, it's definitely my last year. You know, like I said, I've had a great career. Right back to the very start when I was a 7-year-old kid walking into the club and just excelling, and it was so good for everybody in the club and anyone that came around that. My coach Dominic O'Rourke, he had to bring me up to Dublin. That was my first introduction with the big smoke, you know, and went to Crumlin, like, you know. Never forget, I was only 10 years old, and I was in the dressing room with all the Dublin lads, you know, getting ready.
All mad
And
as
their accents at that time, you know, it's new to me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they sound like they're 15 or 16, but they're only like 10 and 11-year-olds as well. And I just have this fear of, like, I'm thinking, oh my God, these guys are like, these are huge. I can't be sparring these guys, can I? Like, and then I went out for a run to warm up with them at the green beside the club in Crumlin, and we came back in for sparring. And so I already bet myself up because I let the whole kind of, you know, I put them up on pedestals, like, and you know, so you know, I just froze, and these guys battered me. They really battered me. But crying all the way home, you know. And I said, that's not going to happen. You know, I'm not going to, well, two things could have happened. I could have packed it in there and then, or turned it into something that was going to fuel me, you know. And I let it fuel me, you know, and I said, right, that's not going to happen to me again. And you know, I kind of got back on track and like had a good old career, you know, really good career. So it's all going to come to a close very, very soon, you know. But it would be nice to finish out with one last kind of humdinger, like, you know, European. Please God, fingers crossed. Hard to know, like, if that will.
Yeah, you do a bit of work on the telly as well.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
All
For
over
RTE, the
telly
boxing.
last year, yeah.
That's another thing, like boxing, like being the pundit for the Olympic Games
is a
for
big
Kelly
thing
and
as well.
Emmett and all the Irish.
Yeah.
The Irish team are incredible. And I didn't get to the Olympics. And that was always something that I thought, like, sure, why would they get me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, again, it's putting yourself, you know, because it's a bit like Richie Sadler. I heard him talking as well about, like, you know, he didn't play in World Cups or anything, but yeah, he's
He's
you know,
on the
he's
telly
a
all the
soccer
time,
correspondent.
yeah.
But I like what he had to say about it. Like, you know, he says everyone's opinionated, you know, and you're talking about boxing, you're passionate, you've done it, you know what I mean? And everyone has an opinion, you know, so that's all it is. It's just opinions, you know. So I'm there sharing my tuppence worth about the boxers, and I'm trying to educate the public and inform them about our boxing, our most successful Olympic sport, and how great they are and what they're doing, because they only get that platform every 4 years, sadly enough.
Yeah.
And
It's a shame.
I just try to make sure that they get, you know, the public know how special they are and how great they are, and that's it. And I love it. I really enjoy getting that.
But a lot of people talk to you as well. A lot of people who weren't boxing fans were just saying, like, involved in the spectacle of the Olympics, because everyone watches the Olympics, you know what I mean? Like, you're sitting down watching rowing and all, like, you know, never watched rowing in my life, but when it's on in the Olympics, you stick around. But you could, like, even go back, if you were on Twitter back then, you'd see everybody how appreciative they were of you and your analysis. And that's things, there's clips of, like, Ruby Walsh, Jordan Cheltenham going around and saying, look how good he is at breaking down and analysing things. And people were saying the same about you. Do you know what I mean? It's that detail people appreciate, because what's a good analysis is someone who's never seen a boxing match before. If they can understand what you're saying, you can break it down for them so that they can digest it. That's somebody who's very good at getting the point across. Whereas if someone gives a high level overview and you're like, I haven't a clue what you're saying, mate.
Yeah.
That's no good to nobody.
Yeah.
That's no good to nobody. You know what I mean? Because you're appealing to a small audience then, whereas you're able to apply it to everybody. So that's something that you can probably look into then when you get the gloves up.
No, you're right. You know, it makes it like, I think your job as a pundit and analysis anyway is to make it accessible to everybody, you know, because it is a world sport, or it's the biggest sport, the Olympics is the biggest sporting event in the world, you know, and like everybody tunes into it. We all love it, like, you know, and I love even learning about different sports and disciplines as well. But like that, like, people have come out, you know, the woodwork to tell me, like, you know, that they really enjoyed it. And one guy said his mother has absolutely no interest in sport, but she said, I love listening to that Donovan fella, you know, about talking about boxing. And like, he goes, all I can say is if she's saying that trust me, that is a huge compliment, you know. And I just said, no, well, I take it as a compliment, you know. I'm really appreciative of that, like, you know. But some people look at boxing and think it's just two people bashing the head off each other. No, but there's a huge amount of skill.
Science.
Like Kelly Harrington in the Olympic final. Come on,
Unbelievable,
call it
that
off.
is.
One of the best performances I've ever seen, like, you know. And I try to just make people aware of how great that was.
Yeah.
A woman that was undefeated for over 2 years. She was a bit of a knockout artist as well, stopping people left, right, and centre. A bit of a puncher, you know. She was a world champion as well coming into it. She won the worlds that Kelly didn't enter because of her hand injury. So Kelly was world champion. She was two world champions meeting in an Olympic final.
What's all about?
It was a blockbuster.
Yeah.
And Kelly just really excelled in that final. It was one of the greatest Olympic performances, I think, of any Irish athlete in any sport.
Yeah.
You know? And you have to be able to convey that to the public, to let them know
how
this
big it
is
actually
special.
Yeah. You know what I mean? There's a game plan here. You know, it's not just as simple as go in and just punch one more time, she punches you.
Yeah.
Basically,
Actually,
you know.
on that note as well, congratulations to Kelly and Mandy.
Yeah, recently married.
Recently married. Absolutely delighted for you. Two
Yeah.
wonderful people. I'm so happy for them.
Yeah,
She's one of our own.
she is. She's the darling of Dublin.
Yeah. Right. I think we're at the end of the road here. We took so many tangents in that fucking
Yeah, where did it
podcast.
go? Jesus, like,
We should have known the fellas up and down the country giving talks. We should have known he could talk.
I said I was elusive.
Well, it's been. Do you know what? Actually, only came into my head there. It's been a while since we had a boxer on.
Yeah, has it? Yeah.
Kevin in January.
Yeah, that's a while
So
for
we're
us.
doing well. Yeah, we used to have a boxer on every 4 weeks or something.
Yeah,
so we're
yeah.
doing well.
Yeah.
Couldn't get a porn star, so we got a boxer on. Anyone knows any porn stars, give us a shout. Any Irish ones anyway. So,
I know, fair play. You've been good to the boxing community as well, like in getting them on, you know, because like I said, like, you know, it's not your mainstream sports, you know what I mean? It's a tough sport, it can be tough to get you know, recognition and publicity and all that kind of stuff. So fair play, you're doing your part too. And
thanks.
you're
It's a
doing-
lot to be took from boxing, though. It's a lot of discipline, a lot of humility in it as well. So, like, people can learn a lot, you know, even just simple things, dabbling in it. You don't have to go on and be a world champion to take the lesson from boxing, you know, like that.
Yeah.
So, just even simple boxer size classes, when you realise the fitness involved in it, and you're like, oh, next time I see this fella on the telly, I know what he's had to go through.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But no, Eric, thanks for coming into us. We do
One last
appreciate
My
it.
pleasure.
Where can people get tickets for your fight?
Okay, yeah, from me. You know, just
from you,
contact
get
me,
the
yeah,
Instagram,
yeah.
Twitter.
Just contact me on any of my social media platforms, yeah, and I'll arrange to get them to you. Yeah.
So, go on to one for them tickets.
14th of May.
14th of May, Europa Hotel in Belfast. Yeah, come on. There's 3 different types of tickets. There's unreserved, which you know is 50. There's ringside, which is 70. Or if you want to enjoy a 4-course meal, VIP treatment, meeting the boxers afterwards and all, come in. They're £100. And you can have a night out with your friends, a night at the fights, and it's so intimate as well. The gig is Europa Hotel. There's only like about 300 fans allowed in, so like you're so close up and personal at the ring. It's a nice intimate gig, you know. So look, if you want to go, I'd love to have your support.
Get on to him there, Eric. You're an absolute legend.
Yeah. I recommend following him on Twitter as well. You're a good crack on
Thanks,
Twitter as well.
lads.
So.
That was a good crack as you guys. But thanks anyway.
All right,
Appreciate
that's it. Take us out there, Keno.
Boom.
Subscribe to this podcast for free on the Go Loud app.
What you waiting for? Put your back in it. Just a little more. Throw your weight in it now. Tell your body okay. Walk it hard and long. When you finish that,
The hip knocker.
go down, go down, go down. Come up, come up, come up, come up. Go down, go down.